Okay, so we have Yellow Floating Hearts by Silas, Brody, Andelin, and Elin.
So this is a picture of the yellow floating heart. They're just like those little lily pad yellow flowers.
So this is a map of the distribution of yellow floating hearts. The USDA states nymphomoids peltata mainly threatens natural systems where it reduces biodiversity, changes community structure, and reduces oxygen levels in the water. Nymphomoids peltata spreads rapidly to form dense monospecific mats on the surface of aquatic bodies.
These plants are located in Trout Lake and Marquette.
Here is a graph of the risk score relative to the risk scores of species used to develop and validate the PPQ-WRA model. And these are our invasive species are in the red.
Okay, now for the biosphere. It increases mosquito breeding habitat and impedes boating, swimming, and fishing.
So the yellow floating heart interacts with the lithosphere by displacing native plant species, reducing biodiversity, and restricting lights to aquatic plants beneath it.
It interacts with the atmosphere by decreasing the air exchange between water surface and the atmosphere.
And it interacts with the hydrosphere by completely covering water in shallow areas of a body of water.
Our claim is that the damage caused by yellow floating hearts can negatively impact an ecosystem to a large extent. Our evidence, as we said earlier, is that the yellow floating hearts create dense mats that shade out native aquatic plants. They decrease oxygen levels, increase mosquito breeding habitat, impede boating activity, fishing, and swimming so that they limit recreation. Fragmented pieces of these plant scan establish new population, and seeds are engineered to disperse by attaching to the feathers of waterfowl, displace native species, reduce biodiversity, and decrease water quality and flow.
So one proposal that we have to stop the invasive species, the yellow floating heart, is to develop a campaign to educate the NMU community about yellow floating hearts. What we'll tell the community is identification, habitat, native range, U.S. distribution, the local concerns, and lookalikes of the plant. Please take one or more photos of the invasive species that you're reporting. Also make note of the location, date, and time of the observation. This will aid in verification of your report. You may be asked to provide your name and contact information if follow-up is needed, or use the Midwest Invasive Species Information Network to report the yellow floating heart.
How the yellow floating heart affects the cycle. So it affects the carbon cycle by decreasing oxygen levels in water beneath the plant growth. It affects the nitrogen cycle because aquatic plants absorb nitrogen in the form of nitrate, and small organisms in the water feed off of the nitrogen, but because the species kills everything beneath it, the nitrogen does leave. It affects the water cycle by stopping the natural flow of water.
Okay, and here is a diagram of how matter and energy moves through the system. Our plants would be in the rivers.
How biodiversity can be preserved or not. Conservation efforts. Control of yellow floating heart can be done through hand pulling and mechanical removal. Policy recommendations. Although it is a popular water garden plant, this plant is listed on the Michigan Prohibited Aquatic Plant List, making it illegal to possess, transport, or release the plant within the state.
How biodiversity can be preserved, be preserved or not. What you can do. I can't. What you can do. Control of yellow floating heart can be done through hand pulling and mechanical removal. You can prevent the spread of yellow floating hearts by not purchasing this plant for water gardens and practicing the clean, drain, and dry method for watercraft prior to moving them between lakes.
Thank you.